Hello, it's me and Joe. She's very excited. And as you guys can see, I told you I was going to start trying harder. I'm wearing makeup. I'm wearing this like hooker pink on my lips. It makes me very uncomfortable, but I'm leaning into it because it has to do with today's homework. Last week we had homework. I didn't follow up on it. Hope you completed your assignment. This week is something very similar, but new. This week's homework is identifying self-sabotaging habits or behaviors and the way that you rationalize them in your life. So I'm going to give you an example, what I identified, and then how I fix it, and I'm going to give you your homework. My example, real life example, is when I used to be less healthy emotionally. I always said that I wanted relationships. I wanted the real, genuine, true love thing. But every time that it was offered to me, I would sprint. I freaked the F out every single time. And it didn't really make sense. Like, I'm saying that I want this, but then when it's presented, I get really scared. Like, what the F? So I went through therapy, a lot of journaling, a lot of self-talk, a lot of being very uncomfortable with myself, alone with myself, discussing myself to myself, and just tracking a lot of my behaviors and my feelings. And I had to recognize that when the idea of a real relationship came into my life, I was scared because the narrative I played in my head was that no matter what you do, no matter how good you are, a man will always leave you. You will always be cheated on. You will always be left. You will always be someone who is thrown away, right? And if someone seems really, really, really good and like they really, really want to work things with you and be there for you, that just means that when they hurt you, when they walk away, it's going to hurt even more. Like, you're going to be blindsided. And that scared me. That was the only reason I could not allow myself to be in a fulfilling relationship, because I knew that it would crush me if a good guy left me down the line, as opposed to just being with a bad guy who I know would leave. I just didn't know like how quickly, but at least I couldn't be surprised by it. That is self-sabotage level 99. I'm telling you, I promise you. And so once I identified that, then I could really work through, where do those things come from? Well, it comes from my parents divorcing after 20 something years. It comes from men cheating on me. It comes from bad previous relationships. It comes from creating a internal voice narrative of, this is what happens, this is what happens, this is what happens, this is who you are, this is who you are, this is who you are, right? And so once I identified those three things, I started working through them and trying to just combating them day by day. Like, this is not who you are. Every single time that a thought would come in, nope. Every time I come in, nope. Every time I come in, right? And it also was like verbally putting it out there, trying to set limits on myself and boundaries, and then also identifying the ways that I personally perpetuated those cycles, because it's not just people doing it to you. Once it becomes a part of who you are, you start creating that around you. So I used sex and other things in an unhealthy way to create a cycle, right? Because I wanted that narrative to be true, because if it's not, then it can't be my narrative, right? So now I'm healthy and I'm able to have the type of relationship that I want. Whatever is going to happen in the future or not, life is great because I love myself, and I've been alone and uncomfortable with myself enough that me, myself, and I and Joe are all I need, right? So the homework for you guys is to identify something that you self-sabotage yourself, whether it is in a job or a fitness goal or with relationships or your family, whatever it is, something that you say, I want this, and then every single time it's brought to you, or you think it's something that you really do want and you run away. I want you to identify that thing. Then I want you to identify 3 reasons why that thing exists, why you're self-sabotaging yourself. Maybe you are self-sabotaging yourself with excuses like, well, I really want to compete or I want to lose weight, but the kids are just, they're just crazy right now, or we're in the busy season at work. I don't have time to work out. Those are excuses. Those are self-sabotages as well. So I want you to think about 3 self-sabotages that you do, and then I want you to identify 3 ways you're going to begin fixing it. It will take a very long time, but you have to start somewhere. For me, it was going to therapy. It was allowing myself to identify the internal voice tape that plays on repeat, and then starting to just kind of like rewind it and check it every single time. And then the last one was just, like I said, being uncomfortable and being alone and really facing that fear of like, this is who I am, period, right? So I want you guys to work on that. I want you to do it and then tell me about it. DM me, ask me if you have any questions. I am always here. Thank you. Have a good one. Say goodbye, Joe. Goodbye.